Let's find the joy in learning English. I'm Joseph. This is Input English. If we want success in our language learning programs, they need to have a component of fun. They need to be enjoyable. If your language learning program is a chore, it's a drudgery, it's no fun, then success is very unlikely. If, on the other hand, you can tailor your program to your needs so that you can find it enjoyable, then you are much more likely to succeed. Today I have 10 points. These are concepts that I have discovered or uncovered in my language learning journey. They represent advice that other people have given to me, as well as ideas which I have come up with during my learning process. At the end, I'll tell you my favorite of the 10 points. Number 1, connect your learning to your interests. We are adults. We have a lot of interests, and we bring those interests to our language learning arena. There is often an opportunity to connect your interests to your language learning journey. I certainly did this in Spanish. Once my level got high enough so that I could understand some native content, then I searched for content that was on very specific topics. I've given 2 examples in the past, but they bear repeating. One was a YouTube channel about photography, and another was a YouTube channel about drones and technology. Both of these were produced in Spain and were best described as native content. They were not intended for language learners. I got a lot of input from those 2 sources once my level of comprehension got high enough that they were comprehensible. If you have knowledge of a specific field or a specific topic, and then you find input content on that topic, your superior knowledge of that particular field will make that content more understandable, more comprehensible. So you will actually be able to understand more advanced content if you know a lot about that subject. Number 2, embrace challenges. I think it's worthwhile to accept that learning an entire language to fluency is not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. It's not easy. There are challenges, and there will be parts of this journey that will be difficult. What I've learned in my own experience is instead of shunning the difficulties, I embrace them. If something is very difficult to comprehend, I just keep working at it, keep trying to understand it, keep getting more input in that area, just short of obsessing about it, because I want to conquer these difficulties. People like to climb mountains, and I consider a mountain a challenge, or metaphorically, a challenge is a mountain. And so advice number 2 is to embrace these challenges, climb the mountain, and overcome the problem. Number 3, set achievable goals. In previous videos, I have made a point that it is important to have goals, but they need to be very specific. A goal to learn English is too vague. It's a great starting point, but a more specific goal would be to get 1 hour of content input per day, or 2 hours of input per day. In other words, very, very specific, concrete goals. And keep them realistic. When I started learning or acquiring Spanish, I wanted to do so quickly. I wanted to keep it realistic. So I set the goal of 3 hours of input per day. Now, I don't dictate that to you as your pace. No. You figure out how much input you want, but I'm using it to illustrate the point. I chose 3 hours a day, and it worked. For me, that was realistic. If I had chosen 6 or 7 hours per day, that would have been a much more rapid program to acquire Spanish, but it would have been completely unrealistic. Keep your goals specific. Keep your goals realistic. Number 4, experiment with different types of input. In other videos, I have talked about how to design a comprehensible input program for yourself for English. That is, if you're relatively early in your journey, you want to listen a lot and not read at the beginning. People with a lot of experience with English who are using intermediate content like this frequently are speaking, reading, writing, and listening. So a very broad-based spectrum of input is advisable for this group. I like to change up my input. I may spend a lot of time watching videos for a while and then listen to podcasts for a while and then shift to an audiobook and then maybe back to videos. Change it up and try to find the content that suits you best. Don't struggle with content that is too high that you don't understand it. It's okay to put input aside if you judge that you're not ready for it. It won't change, but you will change, and it will thus become easier. It is good for us to try out different kinds of input and try to find things that give us joy, give us more enjoyment. There's a common English expression, variety is the spice of life. And that applies here. Try different kinds of input while maintaining your overall goal to get a lot of input over time. Number 5, practice positive self-talk. Learning a language is not easy. And if we are disappointed with the progress we are making, sometimes the thoughts we harbor or the things that we say are not very supportive of our own program. We talk a lot on this channel about input, but we need to remember that the thing that we hear the best is what comes out of our own mouth. The shortest distance to your ear is from your own mouth. And so if in the morning someone gets up, looks in the mirror, and starts criticizing themselves for their appearance or their productivity or their character, they're going to have a really rough day. If, on the other hand, that same person gets up, looks in the mirror and says, that's a worthwhile human being, pretty smart, very conscientious. Those words come right out of your mouth, and the closest ear is your ear. And we respond to that kind of input. Positive self-talk can help our program to learn English. It's part of normal human psychology. We can use that to our advantage. Number 6, create a positive learning environment. There are a lot of possibilities here. This could mean the habits that you have created. It could be a device that you use to get input more comfortably and easily. For instance, a set of headphones. If you have a long commute and there's a lot of background noise, you might want to have a wireless headset so that you can get input during your commute. Not driving, because we're not supposed to wear headsets while we're driving, but assuming you were on a public transit. You can create a positive learning environment by making it easy for yourself. You might find a place in your household that it's comfortable to get input. A quiet place, perhaps. We have learned from cognitive psychology that our learning is actually better if we learn in different locations. It's very tempting to set aside a specific location and get all our input there. But the work done in cognitive psychology suggests that we actually retain more if our learning is in different locations. I wouldn't worry too much about that, but you may find opportunities to get your input in different locations. I do. For instance, in the morning over coffee and breakfast, I'm watching videos. Then later in the day, I'm listening to a podcast in my car. Later still, I may have a headset on and listen to an audiobook while taking a walk. Number 7, increase our motivation. There are some opportunities here. It goes along with positive self-talk. Celebrate the victories that you have made. Notice how your level in English has improved. Notice how much easier it is to understand things as you get more and more input. The progress that you make in learning English will reinforce your motivation. One of the big problems with language learning is people lose interest. They lose their motivation and they quit. So keeping an eye on your level of motivation is very useful. Number 8, improve your retention. How do you do that? Well, there are a bunch of ways. 1, if you're getting input, are you alert and paying attention, or are you super tired? Are you distracted? We know that comprehensible input works best if you understand the content so that you can follow the story or follow the discussion, and if you maintain your attention on the content. So if your attention drifts off to thinking about other things while the audiobook, the podcast, or the video is playing, you're not getting much for your time spent. Your retention will be very good if you pay attention to the subject matter. In other videos, I've talked about 2 concepts coming out of cognitive psychology that are worth knowing about. One is spacing, and the other is interleaving. So let's assume that you've watched a video and that you would like to watch it again. Don't watch it again immediately. Watch it again later. Maybe a week, maybe more. That spacing will dramatically improve your retention of what you're learning. That's free advice from our friends at UCLA in the cognitive psychology department. Interleaving is a similar strategy, and that is you learn something and then you go do something else. Let your mind process that at the subconscious level and deal with other things. And then the next time you come back to that subject matter is after you've done other things. So spacing and interleaving work well together. You can do them at the same time. You watch a video, and then you watch other content. You listen to other content. You get other input. And then later you come back. That satisfies both spacing and interleaving, and the payoff to you is improved learning. Our brain is designed to work this way, and we are using this innate feature of our brain to our advantage. If you're trying to get input and you're super tired or you're really sick and you just don't feel good, if you're distracted, worrying about something else, then that time is not well spent. You are well advised to resolve the problem, get some rest, solve the problem, and then get your input when you're in good shape, when you're going to be more receptive to learning from that input. Number 9, personal growth. Learning another language is really a part of personal growth. It adds a dimension to who we are. And I just wanted to mention that because it's important. It's important to the way we feel about ourselves and the way we function in the world. Bear in mind that learning another language like English is a big asset in our personal growth. And number 10, they said it couldn't be done. We are adult language learners. Many people believe that language learning is done by children and that it is futile for an adult to try to become fluent in a language. The older we are, the lower the expectations that our societies have for our abilities to do what we are actually doing. So one of the ways to add joy to your English learning program is to realize that they said it couldn't be done. People don't expect you to learn English and become fluent. And when you overcome that challenge, that can bring you quite a bit of joy. So those are 10 points that I actually focus on while I am trying to learn Spanish. Each of those points has been very useful. I do have a favorite. Your favorite point may not be the same one that I have. So which one do you think is my favorite? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Being of a certain age, our society does not expect me to learn another language. Our society is more likely to consider me too old to accomplish such a lofty goal. So my favorite point of those 10 is they said it couldn't be done. That's one of the big reasons I want to do it. Really, they said it couldn't be done is very similar to mountain climbing. I like climbing mountains, and I like overcoming challenges. They said it couldn't be done. I invite comments below, and if you like videos like this, be sure to click on this one next. See you soon.